Good evening, Facebook family and friends, YouTube, or wherever you may be listening, and welcome to another episode of the Empowerment Platform. Now, I won't be long before you tonight. I have spent the last 2 days on Zoom doing a virtual boot camp for the ETA Speaker Bootcamp. That's Eric Thomas and Associates and the Speaker Bootcamp program. A couple of months ago, I actually enrolled in the Game Changers program to go underneath Dr. Eric Thomas and the other coaches to learn the speaking business, the tools, the tips, the tricks, the back end systems, the processes, just everything that's involved with becoming a professional speaker, and also developing your speech keynote is not as simple as just getting up on the stage and going at it. So today was the culmination of my process with that. I became a certified speaker today at the end of the boot camp, which I am excited about. It's just another chapter, another page of my journey to continue on. And as always, my purpose is to empower you to reach your goals, whatever they may be, and whatever value I can get from other resources, I'll be here to share them with you. So I'm not going to be before you long. 2 days is a long time to sit at a computer at a virtual all-day event from roughly 9 o'clock to 6:30 at night. So I have been away. I do want to get back to my family and spend some time with them. But here's some things I learned and things I want to share with you. One, all people from all walks of life have a dream and a goal. And oftentimes, through the throes and woes of life, our goals and our dreams get sidetracked. We don't often, I guess, for some people, once the dreams get sidetracked, we never really get back to dreaming. We just do the 9 to 5, or we do the work, and we don't ever just be who we really desire and want to be. And sometimes that leads to bitterness. That leads to resentment. That leads to, oh, my life is tough. That leads to being in a vicious cycle that, never really lets up. And I'm a witness to that through knowing the older generation, how the stories of their life was, I worked hard all my life. And then for some of them, they were able to retire. But then when they retire, the retirement wasn't enough to really do anything. So they're just sitting. I've worked hard all my life, and now I'm just sitting until the end time comes, or the end of their chapter on this earth. And I never wanted to be like that. I never wanted to raise my family that way, or to, I don't want, and I don't have to be super rich. This is not a go make millions rant. This is a do more with your life and dream and become who you want to be. And I'm circling back to, there were so many people that joined that boot camp that came in from all walks of life. And the common thread was, I have a dream to be a speaker, to be an event host, to be a workshop facilitator, to be a coach, to be a trainer. And either they were already doing this, or they were working a 9 to 5, and this is where they're trying to go. But everyone came with an open mind. See, that's the key. If you're still dreaming, if there's still something that you want, please don't lose your open mind. Don't lose the, you can do this. Don't lose the, I can make this transition. No, it won't be easy for everybody. For some people, it seems like they can just touch it. It turns to gold. Bam, they got a new life and everything's wonderful. But for the majority of people, this will be something hard. You're working your full-time job, or you're working in your business, but you're not bringing in the income you want. It's a struggle. And the difference between those who make it and those who don't is the people who make it, they keep going through the struggle. They don't quit. They don't get bogged down. They don't give up. They don't have limiting beliefs. There are some people that don't even believe they deserve or can have more. Well, my mama grew up this way, and my daddy grew up this way, and my grandparents grew up this way, so I'm going to be this way. And that's just not true. I'm here to tell you that you can be whatever and whoever you put your mindset, your full focused energy to be. And you have to want it. It's not enough to just say it and dream it. You got to go and get it. And what I noticed is everybody that was there wanted something. They wanted that next level life. They wanted the keys. They wanted the tools. They wanted the information. They wanted it. And now that they have it, it's time to apply it. So what did I learn over the last 2 days? One, I think the biggest thing that I took away out of all the professionals that got on and showed how you can have great social media, you can do great posts, you can do great videos, you can do ebooks, courses, write books, everything, speeches. What I learned is don't go for perfection, because that is the other side of that analysis where I needed to be perfect. I need it all look right. I need it all to be right, or I can't come up with the best ideas. Don't try to do it all in the beginning. You got to get started first. You have to get started first. The next thing, don't compare yourself to someone who has made it. Because when you look at, and I have done it, and we all do it. When I look at Eric Thomas at where he's at, #1 motivational speaker in the world, thousands of dollars for a speech. He's got the team. He's got everybody supporting him. It's just shiny. And when I look at that, and then I look at, man, I'm just here getting started. I have nobody but me, and I'm trying to work it, and I'm trying to come up with content. I'm trying to learn how to film stuff. I'm trying to do this. And I look at him, it can bog you down, and you can then start to put yourself in a position to where, okay, I can't do this. And you don't want to do that. Don't look at where somebody else is and try to compare yourself. Work what you have with what you have. Canty Simmons was our gracious host for the 2 days, and he just went through, hey, if you got to film yourself on a cell phone, start with that. If you got to use a whiteboard, or if you got to use this and you don't have all the tools, use that. But if you are someone and you want to do something, you have a dream, no matter what that dream is, get started. Take the next logical step towards your dream. It doesn't have to be grand. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be phenomenal. It doesn't have to be the best thing out there. Just do it and then grow from the learning experiences. Another thing I learned is patience. You got to be patient with the process. Nobody just jumps up and they become millionaires overnight. And if they do, that's the 0.00001%. It's not for everybody. So be patient with the process. It will come. It will come. Grow. And that goes back to comparing. Don't look at somebody else and where they are and compare yourself, because you don't know what they went through to get there. You don't know the struggle that they had. You don't know their side of the story. You just see the end result. But when you start to talk to these people, when you start to get to know them and you get to hear their story, I don't want some of the struggles that other people had to get to where they are. I've never been homeless, and I don't want to ever have to go through that. I ain't never have to eat out of trash cans. It didn't take me a long time to get my degrees. I don't want that specific path to get to that point, but that is their story. That's what makes them phenomenal. They're overcoming that. Just like for me, having a medical issue and a disability, people don't want that. My overcoming one thing to get to where I am, and people say, "Oh man, you do a great job. You overcome this, you overcome that," but they may not want that to get to where I am. So go through your own journey, figure out your own journey, and have patience and work it. Another thing I learned is things aren't as difficult as we make them out to be. Simplify everything around you. It does not have to be deep or difficult. When we try to make it deep, that's where we start to come up with, okay, I got to have all of this stuff, and I got to have all of these processes. I got to have all of these books and all of these words. Your audience may not even want that. Or whatever you're trying to do, keep it simple. Keep it simple. So, recapping, never give up on your dreams. Never give up on your vision. Next step, take the next step towards it. Don't look at where somebody else is and want that. Go through your own process to get where you want to be, not where somebody else is. Be patient. Number 3, be patient. Number 4, keep it simple. Simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Because when we start overcomplicating things, that's when things go. I overcomplicate stuff. I just sent a message today earlier. I was trying to build a funnel. A funnel is when you're trying to sell a product, you build a funnel. It's a series of, you read this, you click this, you go to the next step. You do that, go to the next step. Then you pay, then you go to the next step. So I'm trying to build out this phenomenal, great funnel. I also want my PDF booklet, my PowerPoint to be right. And I'm trying to put all of this stuff together. And then I get bogged down. And I spent a week just looking at one piece because I couldn't get it right. And I was talking and I sent some messages to them like, hey, here's where I am and here's this. And then I thought about it as I was listening to some of the speakers today. Why am I overcomplicating it? Take some of the steps out. Some of them aren't even needed. When I really thought about it, some of the steps aren't really needed. They're just there for show. But is that really serving my audience? Is that really what they're looking for? My audience wants me to solve a specific problem, not show them 1,800 things and make it look fancy. So keep it simple. A couple of other things I learned. I mean, there was just so many great shares and speakers on this at this event that everybody worked to get to where they were. It wasn't handed to anybody. It wasn't just dropped in their lap. They had to work for it. What I really enjoyed, one of the major things I enjoyed, because I always think about writing a book, and that's another thing about keeping it simple. For some reason, I think that, the book needs to be 200 pages to be a book. Well, not necessarily. And it can be so many different formats in a book. And I was stuck on one idea of a book. And after hearing the gentleman talk about the book and talk about publishing and all the ways you can do it, I wrote down some notes and I was like, I can write a book right now. The information that I have, what I've been through, the experiences, I can put that in a book. But I was overcomplicating it because I wanted one of those textbooks. I wanted a school textbook to be 300 pages thick. And I considered that a real book. So sometimes we psych ourselves out. Sometimes we prolong our own process. Think about that. Let that sit for a minute. Are you prolonging your own process? Putting too much thought into it, thinking too much about it, making it too difficult, overcomplicating it. Young lady, Dinah Gladley, she does YouTube videos on cameras, lighting, the tech features, and all of that stuff. I really enjoyed that because I bought a camera. I'm still, as you can see, even in this podcast, I know you listeners can't see it, but those who watch on YouTube, my camera isn't set right to where I can just look straight forward and look down the camera. I have to look up. So that's something that she came in, she brought some tips. You learn. And I used to be hung up on that. Well, I can't really do a show if I'm not looking down the barrel of the camera. But for those that just want to hear what I have to say, that's not even important. But those are things that we get hung up on. Credibility was another takeaway. Credibility. And that was E.T. himself talking about be credible in your message. If I'm out here talking about I was dealing drugs and I was a former drug dealer turned whatever, and people that I grew up with and that know me, they were like, he ain't never sold no drugs. Then I lose credibility. When your audience finds out that you're not credible, that you're not telling the truth, that you're fabricating a story, then you've lost credibility. So be credible. Just be who you are. Everybody's not going to have the same story. And there is no such, and I used to think this. I used to think that, man, somebody who had it really bad, only their story is really important. And it does. If you listen to different people's stories and you hear the person that went through everything, it's like they were really down on their luck and they made it. But there are people in every walk of life that has something that is valuable to somebody else. So if you're out there and you have a dream and a goal and you want to impact people, tell your story. It will impact somebody, someone. Someone will respond. Someone will take your message. Someone will need it. And you don't have to be who you're not. Just be who you are. Speak your truth. That way, if you're speaking your truth, it's authentic and you don't have to play the guessing game of, oh, what I'm going to say. Let me keep up this fabric of a story. No, you're just being you. Another takeaway I got this weekend is if you're somebody that's selling a product, you want to be a business person, even if you're in real estate and you're trying to buy a house, make it about the person that you're trying to serve. See, and ET talked about it, CJ talked about it. We get nervous when we're speaking, when we're trying to sell, when we're trying to do whatever with somebody else. We get nervous because we're concerned about how that person sees us. Am I talking right? Am I doing this? Am I doing that right? And we get nervous because we're too worried about how we're coming off. But if you were serving somebody else and you were worried about what they're getting, the information they're getting, meeting their need, telling them what they need to know, then you take the pressure off of you. You don't have to be uncomfortable. If I'm trying to sell you a product and I know that you need the product and I know why you need it, then I can just speak to why you need that product. Has nothing to do with how I look, how I'm dressed, anything. If I stutter a word, and that's another thing. We're human. Like Candace said, we mess up. Things happen. But that shows authenticity. That shows real. Nobody wants to talk to a robot. Be prepared, but don't be rehearsed, because people can feel and they know when you come off as rehearsed. It doesn't feel genuine. It feels like you're just reading a script. Just reading a script to them. You just going through and I'm going to check off these boxes and hope you buy whatever I'm selling. I appreciate it, Nikki. Thank you. Thank you. So those are just some of the things that I took away from this weekend. And when I was there in Michigan a couple of months ago, I took away some tips, some things, and it was the same message. Dream your dreams, follow your goals, be authentic, take action, do something. And why I created this podcast was because I grew up in an area where people didn't dream. We worked hard. That was the story. What's up, words? That's funny. Funny. But yeah, I grew up, and I'm nothing against hard work, but that story of all we do is work hard. Like, did you enjoy life? Sometimes I want to ask my grandma, like, did you really enjoy your life? And I'm sure she'll say yes, and she'll give me the reasons why. But growing up, just all we do is work hard. That's all I can tell you about my family is we work hard. We gotta work. We came up in the deep South. They dealt with Jim Crow. There was no resources. When I was growing up, we didn't have no swimming pool. The YMCA was 20 minutes from my house. So we played street ball, dirt ball. We couldn't even go in the gym after school. So when I thought about the empowerment platform, I thought about all the people like me who wanted more in life, but didn't have the resources. Shout out to Nicholas White with his financial advising and his insurance selling. He's given something to people that never thought about that. Nobody ever thought about investing. Nobody ever thought about buying and generational wealth and for the future. They always just thought about doing your job, working hard to provide a nice and stable home, which we did have. But what was next? What was next? People didn't travel. And when you did travel, it was local. Like we went from a small town to a small city to go to the mall or to go to the movies. That's right, Dustin. It's a big town, one street light. Everybody knows that where we come from is just the farm. You farm or you move out or you work a factory. And I remember when they worked factories and then they signed a trade agreement and those jobs went to Mexico. And a lot of people lost their jobs. The little jobs that were there. So dream, have your goals. Find ways to connect with people that can get you to where you want to go, that can empower you. Life is more than just working. Working. When you dream, when you think about what you want, write down your plan, write down your vision, write down the next logical steps to get there. Look at someone and see where they are, but don't compare your process to their process. And don't compare where you are right now to where they are right now, because it's two different levels. And be patient. Be patient. Think about Coach K this weekend. He talked about he had the hustle, he had the grit. He just needed the plan, the process behind it, the system. But when he found or when he came into contact with ET and CJ, he was already working. So make sure that you're working on your dream or your goal. Don't just be there waiting for somebody to pick you up and carry you to the destination. Work on your own dreams and goals. Show people, because when you're taking action, the right people will come around you and connect. But they're not going to want to connect with you if they think that, or see you just sitting on the sideline taking. Oh, I want this person so I can take from them. I want to get with this person so I can take from them. Make sure that you are doing your best, your task, walking in your vision, and then people will join you. So I'm going to get off of here. Wanted to keep it short. Alan, man, you like the logo? Man, my shout out to my boy Alex. Went to Tuskegee with him. He has his own embroidery. He does stitching for all, man. Everybody I know in Alabama, he's doing stitching for him. Phenomenal work. Here's the takeaways. Takeaways from my weekend at the boot camp. Takeaway from my show tonight. Never give up on your dreams and goals. You can be whatever you want to be if you put the work in. Put your mind into it, put the work into it. Take action. Once you have determined that, hey, I want different, I want better, I want more, I want X, I want Y, I want Z. Once you have determined that, take action on it. Whatever the next logical step is, and keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Just get started. Figure out who you want to emulate or who you think is in the pathway. You see the successful people in whatever you want to do. Look at them, but don't compare where they are to where you at. And don't try to make their story your story. Work and walk through your own process. But I already said it. I'm going to say it again. Keep it simple. And if you do that, you can be whatever you want to be. You can reach whatever goals you want to reach. I could probably bring 50 people on here to interview, and I can ask them the same thing. Hey, you're so successful. How'd you do it? And they will say, well, I had a dream and a goal. I took action on it. Some might say they caught a lucky break, but I don't believe in lucky breaks. I believe in opportunities that you have to be prepared to seize. A lot of people have an opportunity and they're not prepared. And they miss it. And then they say, well, I didn't get the lucky break. No, it came. You just weren't prepared. So be prepared. Take the next logical step. Do something. Because I was in a group, virtual boot camp, with a lot of people who took action. They took control. We didn't even talk about that, and I'm getting off of here, but take control. Life happens to you when we say, oh, life happened to me, because you allowed it. If you seize control, yes, there will be outside factors that dictate and impact things in your life. But you have an option and a choice when you take control of how you're going to get through that thing. So how will you get through the next disaster, the next this didn't go right, the next I can't pay this bill, the next X? Choose. Oh, I like it, Joe. I like it. Life happens for you. How are you going to overcome? And Joe, I hope you're feeling well and doing well. So I'm going to wrap up. I'm not going to be long the time. I'm not going to stay long. I'm not going to be the Southern Baptist preacher like I grew up. And they'll tell you they wrapping up for the next 2.5 hours. We're going to get out of here. And then we'll go and talk for another 45 minutes. Again, takeaways. Have that goal and that vision and believe in it. Dream your dream. Take the next logical step. Take action. Start the work. Don't compare yourself with somebody else, especially when you don't know their story. Trust your process. Trust the growth that will come through the process. Keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate it. And as always, the purpose of the empowerment platform is to empower you to reach your goals, whatever they may be. If I can be of any help to anyone, whether it's connections, whether it's how do I do this? Because look, now I remember a couple of weeks ago, a young girl, not a couple of weeks, forgive me, a couple of months ago when I went to the Black History program at the middle school, she wanted to publish a book. I already had one contact being in the Game Changers program to publish a book. And now today, another speaker came and he talked about publishing a book. He owned a publisher. So when I go back to mentoring that school and that same little girl, if she hasn't gotten her book published, I can deliver that resource. So these things that I do, the events, the join, yes, they check off boxes in what I want to do in my process, but that value and that information that I receive, I can share that with somebody else who has a dream, who has a goal. Now I can empower this little girl, if she hasn't gotten a publisher, to say, hey, I have 2, 3 options for you to get your book published. So that is my purpose here at the Empowerment Platform. It is to connect you with the resources, to empower you, to help you get to your goal, to reach your dreams. Because I'm not on here just talking and then you say, hey, Tyrus, I need help with this. And then I say, oh, you're on your own. I don't know. No, whatever I have to do, I will get you that information to help you. Whatever industry, because that's the beauty of being in different organizations, being a part of different things. You meet people from all walks of life that may have been successful business owners, successful truck drivers, successful in real estate, successful publishers, authors, speakers, coaches, sports, just the connections. So, family, I appreciate you. Joe, that's phenomenal. That is phenomenal. Phenomenal news. Glad that you are healed and ready to get back to this work. And I know you didn't stop working. I saw your post. I saw your live. So you worked during your whole time with this. Glad you overcame it. It's a blessing. I appreciate it, Antonio. It was one week that for some reason the mic and stuff just did not sound great. I don't know if it was my internet or if it was the platform that I'm using to stream or if it was Facebook. Didn't get the audio great, but it was kind of choppy. But I'm glad that audio sounds great tonight. And no one wants to listen to choppy and messed up audio. So I appreciate you, family. Have a great night. Next week I'll be bringing a special guest. I'm going to try to bring on more and more special guests. And I'm also going to start doing some pop-ins so you'll get more information and it won't be just one time a week. Be on the lookout for that. Lots and lots of things are cooking in the pot, in the mix. So I thank you for joining me. Tonight was short again. And I apologize for my listeners who are used to sitting with me for an hour. But I will see you next week. You have a great, great weekend. Be blessed.